Welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality with Michael Cole, the podcast that shines a compassionate light on the journey of veterans battling through life's challenges. Michael is a dual elite certified neuro encoding specialist in coaching and keynote training presentations, dedicated to guiding military veterans as they navigate the intricate pathways of post-deployment life. Join him as we delve into the profound realm of neuro encoding science, empowering these brave individuals to conquer universal battles, procrastination, self-doubt, fear, and more. Together, let's uncover the strength within you to re-engage with families and society, forging a new path forward.
Hello, everybody. We are here on Veterans Day. I just want to start off with, happy Veterans Day to all the vets and their families. Please, think of the vets who have served and are serving. Reach out to them. Just say thank you. So we have today my buddy, my friend, Marcus Weiss. Super excited that we're back on. Marcus is a dual elite certified neuroencoding specialist. He's an actor, a director, and educator who uses his platform to help people live fulfilling lives, which is absolutely fantastic. Marcus's mission is to spread good vibes and empower others to create optimism and resilience. And man, if there is anybody that I know that has that integrity and walks the talk, if you will, it's you, brother. So, Marcus, if you will share a little bit more about yourself.
All right. Well, I am Marcus Weiss. As you said, I seem guided to share with you that I was born in New York. And then through this adventurous, somewhat, may I say, perhaps even traumatic divorce of my parents, I moved over to Switzerland. I grew up in Switzerland. And so I believe this perspective sort of it's informed the way that I look at life in a way, because it was a huge change in my life, and it had an impact on the way that I look at life and the sort of the safety with which I perceive the world around me. And I feel really guided to share that in this moment today. I grew up in Switzerland. I went to Swiss school for a long time. I grew up there with my mom, single mom, and 3 other siblings. And then through there, I went to an American high school, like a day school, and that brought me back to the United States, where I went through a lot of depression in college. When I came back, it was like this. It was a huge culture shock combined with perfectionism, and that perfectionism. If I didn't get things in a certain way, then something would turn out in a certain way that was not good. I realize that now, and I left school. I left college. I came back to college and discovered theater, and in theater, yes, and in theater, there was this controlled environment where where you got the script and you got and I could invent the feelings that I had, and I could take those actions on stage, and at the end I knew how it was going to turn out, and of course it was going to turn out with big applause from the audience, and everybody felt good, and I could always sort of look forward to getting together with my drama friends in another show, and it was all sort of cased in what was the safety, I suppose, of college, and that's how I kind of overcame. Through that, I overcame feelings of depression, at least for the time being.
Right. And thank you for sharing that. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, no, and the reason I share that is once I got out of college and I kept pursuing it into my talent and my magnetism at the time, created a very successful career in the theater and in directing. But what I didn't realize was that I didn't really have those skills off stage as much or at all sometimes, and that my life was still ultimately, and I say this now, really fear driven. That I was that now I wasn't necessarily always anxious, but there was something in me that said, and unless I take this route, unless I find that thing or that path that has the least resistance or no resistance, something in life would not be safe. And that ultimately, for me, underneath that was this current of the world is not a benevolent place. Ultimately, the universe is not benevolent. And by that, I mean, ultimately, it's threatening. Ultimately, the life is something to be overcome. Life is something to be survived. Life is something to be fought. and if I just get through this, and if I can just look out for that, then I can be joyful. Then I can be, and by joyful, I mean in a place of peace, in a place of flow, in a place of wanting to look forward to things, in a place of wanting to get out of bed, in a place of looking forward to the next day. And it was really through, it was really through the work that I've done here and through neuro encoding and the, that I've been able to take what I have off stage and really change this so I can change this, so I can change what I do in my life. That's what it's helped. So that's my story in a very big nutshell.
And we're gonna hear some more. So and there's some things about you that I didn't know. I did not know you didn't grow up in the United States and those kinds of things. I don't know how, but I did that part.
Yeah,
I didn't remember it, didn't know it. So let's kind of dive into what. I know your story, right? Or most of it anyway.
Mm-hmm,
So why don't we kind of dive into, where did Marcus Weiss, the change with the Neuroencoding Institute, and because really you are one of the most incredible people I know to serve and to uplift people and those kinds of things. So absolutely, thank you. Absolutely. How would you say what created you? Or let me go back. What started that story and to really say, hey, I need something different? Because I know you went through some stuff, and we don't need to spend a lot of time on this because we really want to talk about fear and so on. But I think it's important to kind of touch base on that because it kind of connects it. Can we talk about that? What drew you to where you are now?
It's very, very, specific in a way. The turning point came very specifically through my wife, Anastasia, who I looked at as the uplifter of all uplifters in my life. She was really, truly joy personified for me. And little did I know that ultimately I was hanging on. I was really afraid of losing that. So I always looked to my wife to uplift me. And ultimately I trusted my wife. There was an enormous amount of just like, if there was nothing else, I would look to her smile. And I didn't realize this. Of course I realized it. I was doing it, but I didn't realize how dependent I was on it. But what's really important for us here and for the audience to recognize is that I trusted somebody fully. So there was this enormous trust that I put in my wife. I didn't put as much trust in myself, though. I had to filter it through my wife. Right. And there was all sorts of times when she saved my life, but one of the times that she saved my life was at this time when truly it was leading up to COVID, where I really didn't want to get out of bed. I would literally open my eyes and go like, oh my God, not again. Right. Because all I saw in front of me was stress and overwhelm and that kind of thing. And those were my thoughts. And the meaning I put to it was that, here we go again. And somehow in COVID, because I trust my wife, she pointed me and really nudged me into this personal development challenge online. It's something just like this, literally, where I'm just thinking about it. See what happens? Just thinking about it. And because I trusted her so much, I did it. It was like, and it was one of these challenges, and it happened to be in the Tony Robbins world. And right. As we know, Joseph McClendon III, who was our mentor and the founder of the Neuroencoding Institute. That's how I found Joseph. And in that comeback, all of a sudden I was watching online and I found myself, and this is really important, because I trusted her, I trusted who was on screen. And all of a sudden I found myself jumping up and down and like doing these things and feeling better. And I recognized through what they were sharing, like, dude, you did that. You did that. And I'm like, I did that and I'm not at a play. You mean I look forward to the next day and I don't want to go to sleep because I don't want to go away for 6 hours because I want to stay in the world. And so and that's how I met Joseph McClendon III, and that's how I got into neuroencoding. And it started with somebody I trusted. And my wife was ultimately my joy mentor, my original OG, OJ, old joy mentor. But then I had to realize that it was me that was doing the things, that it was me doing the activities. It was me signing up for the next thing. It was me continuing to go to the joy gym, as I like to call it. It was, and so that's what it was. I looked to somebody that I trusted to just help lift me into those next moments.
I love that. And
So
Marcus, I'd like to touch base on that just for a second. First of all, the things you brought up, right? You didn't want to get out of bed. It was like, no, not again. I mean,
No, man.
let's be honest with ourselves, right? I mean, who hasn't been there to some extent? You know, I mean, I have. I mean, there's times just like, no.
Yeah.
But when you find that service, you find that thing that makes you happy and gets you up early, and like you said, doesn't make you want to go to bed at night. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and I'm so glad that you found what you found. Because man, if Marcus wasn't here, and this Marcus, man, the world would not be the same. So thank God. Thank God,
you.
man.
Thank you. Yeah, then we do this. And then we do this, which, by the way, Michael, it's one of the things. Applause like this is one of the things. It's one of the activities. It's one of my tips. It's one of the things where you go like this, because this means confidence and energy. It's the confidence that what was just said, what was just done was a good thing. And most importantly, that we want, amen, that we want more of it. Because when we were babies, right, and when we stumbled, learning how to walk, whoever was around us, hopefully, did not go, "You're terrible at walking, baby." They said, "You did that. You're amazing. Clap, 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 clap." And our brains took that in as, "I'm amazing. I did that." And then we did another step and looked to that praise and celebration again. And that's you know what I mean? And so that's, and I think that's really, really important.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You mentioned, I want to point out that you mentioned the service part of it. And what was incredible is that on the heels, almost simultaneously, in this initial change that I was experiencing, came the sense of service, along with the coming alive and the experiencing of joy. Coupled with it was the sharing of joy, which is what my shirt says. That's what I call the joy experience, which is you find it, and then you be it, and then you share it, and that's. And so every night, dude, amen, clap, 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 because that's the good thing, and I want to do more of it, because I was online, like, I think I was in 7 to 9 Facebook groups on a daily basis for months. And here's the thing, I didn't know what I was going to say before I pressed the button, because what I was going to say, the how I was going to do it was not as important as what I was doing. I was just like, I gotta get out there and shine this light, because there's people out there that need this as much as I do. If it helped me, it's gotta help somebody else.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. So really quick, we're going to dive into fear, because this is when I asked you, hey, what do we want to talk about this time? You just fear. So I know it's on your mind, and we're going to get into this. I wanted to really quick apologize. There's some tech issue that's happening where we can't see some of the Facebook or social media people that are saying things and supporting us and that kind of thing. It just says Facebook user, and a lot of them are coming in blank. So please don't stop. Hopefully it still shows on Facebook and so on. But I just want to let you know that if you're not seeing your stuff popping up like I normally do, it's only because we're having a tech issue there. So thank you again for your support, by the way. So fear, let's dive in, right? So, why don't you just, when I said, hey, what do you want to talk about this time, my friend? And you just fear, what did you want to talk about?
Well, because the things that what's standing between what we want and us going towards it, not even necessarily even having it. I'm not even talking about achieving it. I'm just talking about taking some kind of a step. And it's, whether we take it as an acronym, false evidence appearing real, because nobody knows the future. And our perception of the future, of course, is based on experiences from the past.
Absolutely.
So, if somebody goes like, well, last time I did this, last time I said this, last time I was in this experience, this happened. And that didn't feel good. So I want to validate that for anybody, that of course that's the case. And yet we don't necessarily know if it's going to happen again. But what for me, I just know that fear, and whether it's fear of success, fear of failure, fear of rejection, it's always this anticipation of what I like to call a negative possibility that keeps me, that holds me back. And the holding back is important because the holding back doesn't feel good. So what's crazy about fear to me, and yet it's so understandable, is that we're choosing one discomfort for another.
Love that. Yep.
It's, so that we're just choosing something else, because let's face it, we're choosing like this hum of dissatisfaction, or this like knotted up unfree feeling. We're trading that for what might be a temporary discomfort of breaking through, but hopefully getting to the other side. It's like this thing of like your whether it's your salvation, or whether it's your exuberance, or whether it's whatever it is, it can just be a small change. It's on the other side of fear. It's through that door. And yeah, that door is going to have a threshold, but we got to get over that threshold. So I've recognized that for me, and it's on my mind, and it's on my heart. And for me personally, I have just found that it's feelings of joy, awe, and wonder that have given me sort of this ignition to get over fear.
Love
That
it,
ultimately it's not an intellectual, like it's not a figuring out, it's not a checklist, it's not writing down like the pros and cons, because I'm a master at finding the thing to be afraid of, and it doesn't have to be big, it can just be small.
Yeah, and that's just natural for human beings, right? And so I want to talk about a couple things you mentioned about how generally fear isn't reality, right?
No.
So how many times, and I invite everybody listening now, and of course on the podcast later on, really kind of just look back and think about the things that you were scared of that ended up never actually coming true, and how often do they really come true? It's such a minute amount that we put ourselves in this fear and make ourselves uncomfortable, like you were saying, right, Marcus? To not take that step forward, to not steer that ship 2 degrees to the right to see what your new destination is going to be. And we get so wrapped up in those thoughts that it's literally just stops people in their tracks. So what I want to do, Marcus, is, and I know you are one of the masters of it, and I love that you're here and we're talking about this. So you have fear, you feel fear, right? What if we could change that to, Tina Parker and I came up with this, excited anticipation instead, because it feels the same in our body. You get the butterflies in your tummy, you get all of those things. So what if we could switch it from fear to excited anticipation, of the future? What are some neuro encoding, tips or thoughts, that you use to do that yourself? When you hear, hey, you know what? I'm fearful. Why am I fearful? Why don't you give us some thoughts and some neuro encoding tips if you can?
Yes, it's the same, right? It's that same, it's the recognition that it's the same feeling in the body, whether it's excited anticipation or sort of, or fearful, freezing, whatever it is. It's the same. So so we're going like this, right? We might be we're shaking a little bit, sweaty palms, and butterflies in our stomach. And the thought is, what's going to happen? Okay, when we're little, but when we're little, we go like this. We put a smile. We have a smile on our face, and we go, "What's gonna happen?" You know what I mean? What's gonna happen? We're going to the store. Yes, what's gonna happen? We're going to the amusement park. What's gonna happen? And somewhere in our lives, there's a change that happens to where then we go, "What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?" Okay. And somewhere in there, it's not literally the thought of what's going to happen. It's not the question that's the change. It's the meaning that changes. And I believe it's the meaning that sort of changes. So one of the literally one of the neuroencoding tips is that I take a deep breath in, and I put a smile on my face on purpose. On purpose, okay, on purpose. Because when you smile, even if it's just for a little bit, your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not real. If you vividly imagine it. If you vividly imagine it. So does it take practice or rehearsal, as I like to say? Yes. And the rehearsal part is the emotional part of it. And so this is the thing that takes some discipline at first, if it's new to you. And over time, it will become a habit, and then it will become part of you. So next time you have this thought of what's going to happen, take a deep breath in, put a smile on your face, and literally say the same words over again. What's going to happen? Okay. And then, so the meaning of that thought, I want us to then put something else in there. So I invite everybody to then answer that question. Instead of going, what's the worst thing that can happen? I like to call it, and this is mine. I like to call it sort of winging it. And winging it means you're just going to improvise something that could happen that is a better case scenario. Not even a best case scenario, like what's a good thing that could happen, and then you answer that, just a little thing. So I'm going to drive out into traffic. Oh, what's going to happen? I'm going to get stuck. Well, hang on. Maybe because you're stuck in traffic, you'll have time to take a phone call from a friend, put it on speaker, and have a great conversation, maybe. Or maybe I'll go slow enough where I can look out and I'll see somebody with some balloons, walking down the sidewalk or whatever. Or I'll have time to smile at people or whatever it is. Just make up something, okay? And that, hopefully, with that smile on your face, is going to make you feel just a little bit better in here. And I call it winging it, because then your wings are spread just a little bit. And then you ask yourself, well, what if that happens? Well, then I will feel a little bit better, or then I'll be inspired to look at something else, and you'll wing and you'll feel a little better, and your wings will spread a little more, and eventually that wind will start lifting your whole spirit up. So it starts with a very simple thing of taking a breath in, putting a smile on your face, and then you start to practice, rehearse changing of your thoughts. Your thoughts then become your reality. I hope, does that make sense? So you have to do it on purpose. You have to rehearse it with emotion that starts with the intentional smile.
Absolutely. And when we do that smile, right? I mean, we learned a long time ago in the Neurocoding Institute, when you do that, all, like you said, the endorphins and all the good stuff drips, and right. It's really amazing when you rehearse it, and I love rehearsal as well. When you do that, you literally, when you can feel it, and I literally feel it in my body when it changes. And I've really noticed that probably over the last month, because again, we do this, and we think we don't practice these things once. We practice them, we rehearse them, and the more you do it, the more you can literally feel the changes in your body.
Yes,
it's amazing. It really is, and I just got goosebumps. Woo! I must be speaking the truth, brother.
Yes, you must be speaking the truth, brother. The rehearse, it's the belief. Belief is that little switch. The belief is the little switch, and so when you look at somebody, and this is when we're in a fearful state. If I see a smile on somebody else, let's say, and I have to go like, oh, they're just faking it. That's, you don't believe it, and belief takes a commitment. Belief, ultimately, you have to vividly imagine it. So, and you don't necessarily have to believe that it's this, huge treasure chest full of gold. You can just go like, well, maybe there's a little bit of, maybe they're just a little nice. Maybe. So if I put on my smile and look around here, I happen to have some green chairs surrounding me. Okay. I'm not actually at a beach. I'm sitting outside of a beautiful store. This is a painting, right? But maybe some of you looked at this and you went like, you were reminded of, you look at the color green and you're reminded of grass, or you're reminded of a palm tree, or you're reminded just a little bit like, green's a nice color. You don't have to go like, oh man, if I was only at a $1 trillion vacation and owned my own island. You don't have to go there. You just have to believe that green is a nice color.
Love
Or
it, man.
that a breeze feels pretty, that can feel pretty nice. It just has to be enough to get you, just over that threshold of from not feeling good to feeling just a little better.
Absolutely. And I love that you say that, but can I take it one step further and say,
Please do.
it's okay to think about being on that island that you own.
Yes.
With the gift of the breeze, because it's warm that day and it cools you off a little bit. I mean,
Sure.
yeah, start small, and the more you do the rehearsals and things, the more you really can get
Right.
to them. So
So
amen, man. I love that you brought that up.
So you're talking about, we were talking about fear, if unless you were going to share something.
Nope,
Because
please.
specifically fear. So like, what if you're terrified about something? Or what if you're like really, really scared about a conversation, a difficult conversation or something like that? So how do you get, so how do we put that smile on our face? How do we change ourselves just enough to take that step to open our mouth to say the first words in that conversation?
Yeah.
Or how do we get into that car to go to that place that we're afraid of going to, or how do we get ourselves, out of bed? And yes, it's okay to imagine the possibilities, but we do have to take that first step. So if you're looking at a difficult conversation, just take a breath in and put a little smile on your face and go like, you know what? I put clothes on. I did that. Pat, pat, pat. I'm on my way to that difficult conversation. You don't have to get over the huge threshold of imagining it's gonna go great. Yes, you can. But for those of us who've experienced like paralyzing fear, you have to get through those little steps at the same time.
I want to add to that as well is it's something I've dealt with in my past, and I think a lot of people do. They sit there and they spin and they think of these things in their heads, and it's generally in their head worse than it's ever going to actually be. And your stomach starts getting upset, whatever the case may be. What I've found is that one step, like you were just bringing it up, and that's what brought it to my heart to talk about it, is just take that one little step, because it gets you out of that headspace.
Yes.
Get up and take the shower. Get up and move forward in the day. And the more you do that, the easier it gets. And here's the amazing thing. Again, use Marcus's tips because they're fantastic. The smiling and the breathing, all of it. But the more you do this, the more you realize, if I just get up and start taking action, put on my shoes, pat myself on the back and celebrate I did it. It's amazing how all of a sudden you naturally just say, you know what, I'm not just going to sit here in my shit. I'm going to get up and move, and I'm going to go do these things and have that conversation. And just the things that you just talked about, Marcus, really just brought that into me, if you will, because I've dealt with that, and I know that get up, move, the day is going to be better just by doing that. Whatever happens, you can pivot and you'll get through it. So, and again, generally, it's way better than you think it is in your head or going to be.
Right. You recognize that you can, period. That you can. You know what I mean? Really, that's it. And I mean, and the reason I stop there is so that we don't make it conditional all the time. About that we can avoid staying in this space of, unless I'm successful, unless I can move forward in a perfect way, or I can move forward unless it constantly flows, I'm not worthy, or I'm not successful, or I'm not whole, or life is not worth living. Like, we have to recognize that if we're just acting, that can be enough. Because that is part of, not that it's enough long-term necessarily for us, because we all want more of something, but it's enough for now. We're moving, we're acting. And I like to share too, that when we're acting, when we're getting into action, we're accessing ourselves. We're accessing the life force that is in us at all times. And you're still here. If you're listening to this, you're still here, and you have the ability to access something and not be fear free, but be in a state of fearlessness. That's why I have that. Where is it? There it is. Fearless. And fearless over, like, just fearless over time. You can have a little bit of fear, just fearless. Do things even when you're afraid, even though you're afraid. Just because you're still afraid doesn't mean you can't get into action, like you said.
Absolutely.
You just do these things we're talking about to fear less in that moment in order to take action.
Absolutely.
I know.
Absolutely.
I
So, and funny thing, Marcus, I was literally going to have you talk about fearless.
Fearless.
And you literally just went right into it.
Fearless, man. It's because that's another thing, Michael. Dude, I always thought, I was terrified, this and depressed and terrified. And I was just waiting for the world or to be such that it would somehow magically melt away. Something in me was just like, oh, yeah, like it's just whenever I felt fearful or whenever I felt, which led to depression ultimately, I had this sense that, oh, life is not okay. That's not how life is supposed to be. Yeah, it is. I mean, we're all going to feel fear. Yeah, it is. I mean, fear is going to come up. Problems are going to come up. You've either just solved the problem, you're in the middle of a problem, or another problem is coming your way, and but you just fear less, which is what we do in neurocoding. I mean, we have the techniques and the tools, and we rehearse the things that when the stuff comes our way, we don't get stuck in it.
Yeah.
We don't get stuck and suffer.
Absolutely. Yep. And it's funny you say that, because it's so just that, isn't it? It's just getting stuck in it. And when the trick is to just have that aha moment that, oh, I'm stuck in it, and I have the tools that I can snap myself out of it too. And that's the beautiful thing about neuroencoding. So, yeah. Hey, Marcus, we are past time. I wasn't even paying attention. I was just in the.
We are?
That's okay.
Oh,
hey,
okay.
It's okay, brother. We own the place.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So if you can, first of all, how do people reach out to you? How do people find you?
Oh, that's okay. That's wonderful. Well, my website is www.themarcusweissexperience.com. I am Marcus Jacob Weiss on Facebook, and I am the Marcus Weiss Experience on Instagram, and I am simply Marcus Weiss on LinkedIn.
How do you remember?
And when you get in touch with me, maybe we can talk about why those are different and why not just the same thing across all platforms. But in the meantime, that's how you can get in touch with me.
No, it all works. And I got news for you. It's hard to have the same thing on every platform. With that said, Marcus, can you give veterans and their families, especially today, 3 tips to get them fear less?
Okay, great. I love this. Every time you face a mirror, please, every time you face a mirror, you put a little smile on your face. You start small and you look yourself in the mirror and you go, I'm amazing. Okay? I'm amazing. Every time you face a mirror. So that includes the morning, at night, or something like that. Now, if that's too difficult at first to say, I'm amazing, just say, you're amazing. As if it was somebody else.
I love that.
Really look at them, because we're so many of us are used to celebrating others. So maybe sometimes that comes easier, but at some point, that other person in that mirror has to become you. So I like to make that distinction. So look in the mirror, that's number 1, and say, I'm amazing. Okay. Once you did that, you can add on, and this might be the second tip, but it's also give yourself a high five. Give yourself a high five. If you don't like smudging the mirror, you can just go close to the mirror and you're like, way to go, or like, you can do this, or something like that. Okay. The second thing is, the next time you're in a fearful state, whether it's terrified or whether it's just a little bit hesitant, okay, recognize your body position. Recognize how you are in your body. All right. If you're sitting down, or whatever it is, I want you to change your position in your body and just say out loud the word stop. Just say the word out loud. Just say stop. If you're in public, you don't have to say it loud, but you do have to vocalize it. Okay. If you're in a meeting, just go a little bit like stop to yourself. And that reminds you to break the pattern of thought that you're in. And then remember maybe this conversation right here and put something else in there real quick. Put something in like, stop, I put clothes on this morning. Or go, stop, I showed up. Or you can go, stop, and remind yourself, I'm amazing. You don't, okay? Put something else in there, no matter what it is, something that is life affirming, something that validates you as somebody who's strong, somebody who's confident, somebody who just managed to get there. Okay? Put something else in there and then pat yourself on the back. Again, if you're in a meeting, you might want to do like this, but you might just go like pat, 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 and then you celebrate just a little bit. Stop the pattern, put something else in there and say, I'm amazing. Okay? And then the third thing, and I share this a lot, very important. I know we think that when we go to sleep, it's going to be a new day tomorrow and everything will be erased the next day. Yeah. The fact is this, that I have found that the way you go to sleep is the way you wake up. So when your head hits the pillow at night, try your very best, or do this. This is the rehearsal, I guess, is review the day from start to finish. Some things that were good for you, some things that served you or served those you care about. Think of things that are on the positive side of the feeling spectrum. Don't go like, oh, here's all the ways I failed. No, instead, think of things that went well. Think of things that were good. Think of things that were perhaps even great. And before you know it, you'll actually be asleep and you'll wake up. Your brain will be programmed for life affirmation and for joy, and will be steering away from fear.
Absolutely love those tips, my friend. Thank you so much. Again, as always, time, most precious resource we have as human beings. We don't get it back. Thank you for spending the time again with us.
Thank you for having me, Michael.
Amazing insights. Absolutely, man. And we will have you back on again.
Yes, can't wait.
All right. Woo-hoo. All right, everybody, we're out of here.
Take it easy. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on another insightful journey of Your Thoughts, Your Reality podcast with your host, Michael Cole. We hope the conversation sparked some thoughts that resonate with you. To dive deeper into empowering your thoughts and enhancing your reality, visit empowerperformancestrategies.com. Remember, your thoughts shape your reality, so make them count. Until next time, stay inspired and keep creating the reality you desire. Catch you on the next episode.